Alright, what's up everybody? We're back. One other edition of Everyday Hoop. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be giving out playoff awards, kind of like with the regular season. Of course, you have MVP, Defense Player of the Year, stuff like that. I'm going to be giving out my personal postseason awards here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership if you want to learn more about the membership. This video on my channel explaining all of it. Go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that. Description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So basically, how I'm doing this is I went through every regular season award you get. So like MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, Defensive, Most Improved, Clutch Player, Coach of the Year, all the stuff like that. And I was thinking, you know what? Why don't I give it to my personal award winners for the playoffs and do it playoff edition style, you know? So that's why I did. These are my personal, who I'm personally giving it to, by the way. And if you think differently, let me know in the comments who you think your personal MVP, Defense Player of the Year, all the awards. Who do you think your personal ones are? Because this is very tough to do, you know. But I decided on who I thought won each award for me, so I'm getting my winner, and then I have a second place and third place as well. So yeah, no more stalling. Let's get right into it. I'm gonna start with most improved player. My personal most improved player for the 2024 NBA playoffs is gonna go to Anthony Edwards. Now, of course, Edwards had an amazing regular season. He averaged 26, 5, and 5 with a steal in the regular season on 46, 35, 52 shooting. He won MVP. I mean, he didn't win MVP. He made the All-Star game, All NBA second team. He had a fascinating, you know, regular season. But then when we got to the playoffs, and he was spectacular. He was one of the best players in the playoffs, which is why I picked him for most improved, because he turned from being a really good player in the regular season, obviously an all-star type player, all NBA type player, to a top. You can make an argument at one point he was the best player in the playoffs at one point. He turned into a superstar, had people giving out some, kind of crazy conversations, about Anthony Edwards, the next Jordan, all this stuff like that. Can he be the future face of the league? And he has so many amazing moments in the playoffs. His averages went up to averaging over 27.5 points per game with 7 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and 1.5 steals on 48, 40, 81 shooting splits. He went up in every single category in the playoffs, except for free throw percentage, apparently. But he was absolutely amazing. Kind of similar to like what the MIP has been the last couple of years, where they went from good to really, really good, like with John Morant, Tyrese Maxey. That's what Anthony Edwards gets my MIP for. He went from really good in the regular season to a superstar, a top 5 player in the playoffs. He was absolutely ridiculous. He brought the Minnesota Timberwolves all the way to the conference finals. He was amazing. So he gets my personal MIP award for the playoffs. And then my number 2, I had Tyrese Maxey. He kind of did a similar thing where he was really good in the regular season. Was an all-star type player, won MIP in the regular season, and then got to the playoffs, and he was one of the best players in the playoffs as well. He's, I think, top 5 in playoff scoring. He averaged almost 30 points per game and 7 assists on 47, 40, 89 shooting splits in the playoffs. And then my number 3 was Paolo Banchero. He only played in one series, similar to Tyrese Maxey, but he was really good in the regular season. Obviously, he made an all-star team. He was really good. Got to the playoffs. He averaged 27, 8, and 4 with a steal on 45, 40, 75 shooting. Had a couple 30-point games. He was absolutely ridiculous in the Cleveland series in the playoffs. So that's my MIP award. It goes to Anthony Edwards. Next, we're going to go Rookie of the Year. My Rookie of the Year for the 2024 playoffs is going to go to Derek Lively of the Dallas Mavericks. Lively, in the playoffs so far, he's averaging 8.7 rebounds and assists, over a block per game on 66% shooting and 61% from the free throw line. He has been amazing. You can make an argument he is the 3rd best player of the Dallas Mavericks as a rookie in the NBA Finals. Well, making an NBA Finals run, he was the 3rd best player. He had the conference finals series against Minnesota where he shot 16 for 16 from the field. He has been amazing all season, and the playoffs has just shown that even more, shown how just well beyond his years he is as a rookie. Again, he's been probably the 3rd most important player to the Dallas Mavericks in this playoff run. What he's been doing in the paint, his passing ability, defensively, just everywhere. He's been amazing. The one game they lost to Minnesota was the game that he wasn't there. I don't think it's that big of a coincidence, So Derek Lively, he wins my Rookie of the Year for the playoffs. Just amazing to see a rookie like that a rookie have the impact like the way he's had in a team that has made it all the way to the NBA Finals. And then my number 2 is Chet Holmgren. He leads all rookies in playoff scoring. He's averaging over 15.5 points per game with 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 blocks. Pretty decent shooting numbers. And then my number 3 was Jaime Jaquez. He only played in 4 games, but in his 4 games, he averaged almost 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he was really good in the Heat Celtics series. But my rookie of the year is Derek Lively. Sixth Man of the Year award. My Sixth Man of the Year for the playoffs is going to TJ McConnell of the Indiana Pacers. McConnell averaged almost 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists off the bench on 48% shooting from the field, 86% from the free throw line. He was absolutely amazing in the playoffs. Like, he came in, brought so much energy. He led all playoff players in bench scoring. He scored 200 points off the bench for the Indiana Pacers. He was super valuable. I mean, you couldn't really. It's really hard to explain just the value of TJ McConnell, what he's been doing in the playoffs. He kept so many games alive for them. He came off the bench. The Pacers in general had the best bench in the NBA in the playoffs, and when they came to the playoffs, TJ McConnell just stepped up in another way. He had so many big shots, has so many big moments. There was times where Tyrese Halliburton wasn't doing well, but it didn't matter because TJ McConnell would come off the bench and do his thing. So TJ McConnell, got to give a lot of credit to him. He wins Sixth Man of the Year for the playoffs. For me, my second was Naz Reid, the original Six-Man winner who averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds off the bench on 45, 36, 71 shooting splits. And then my number three was Obi Toppin, another Indiana Pacer. Also had a really good playoff series off the bench, averaging 11 points on 54% shooting from the field as well. But TJ McConnell ultimately wins the award. Next, we have Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year was probably the hardest one to choose because it's tough kind of to you know, pick defensive, especially in the playoffs and all the numbers and stuff like that. But ultimately, my defensive player of the year ended up going to Drew Holiday for the Boston Celtics. Celtics have had one of the best defenses in the playoffs. Drew Holiday has been absolutely amazing in his playoffs. Of course, he's always been one of the best defenders. Look at win shares, defensive rating. He's been one of the best players in the playoffs. There's a lot of people better than him, obviously, but I feel like he's also had so many great moments in the playoffs as well. Like he had that one, his best one was Game 3 of the Indian Pacers series where they're down 18, they came back. He had the big steal on Andrew Nemhard to steal the game. You put him at so many different positions. He can do great things. He has an amazing 106.7 defensive rating, which is one of the best in the playoffs of qualified players. Defensive win share is honestly a little bit lower than you'd think, but I feel like he's just been such a valuable part of this team for the entirety of the year. But for the Boston Celtics, who have the best defense remaining and had been one of the best defenses after like Orlando, they have been really good, and Drew Holiday has been a big factor in that. So I gave my defensive player of the year to Drew Holiday. My number two is Derek Lively. Derek Lively almost won this award because Dallas has been amazing defensively too, and he has had one of the best defensive numbers. If you look at the numbers, he's been one of the best defenders in the playoffs as well. And then my number three was Chet Holmgren. Gave OKC some love because OKC had one of the best defenses as well in the playoffs, and Chet Holmgren also has some really good defensive numbers and averaged over 2.5 blocks per game. But ultimately, give Boston some love. I gave it to Drew Holiday. Next, we have Clutch Player of the Year. My Clutch Player of the Year award for the playoffs going to Jalen Brunson. Brunson dominated in the clutch this playoff run. He had 49 clutch points, which dominated everybody. Second place is Kyrie Irving, who had 27. So that just showed you how in the clutch, and also the Knicks also played 8 games in the clutch, which is the second most behind the Dallas Mavericks. But Jalen Brunson was absolutely ridiculous in the clutch this year. 49 points on 41, 41, 77 shooting. He was absolutely amazing. Plus minus in the clutch, he had one of the best at a plus 19, which is third, only behind Josh Hart and Jason Tatum. So yeah, led clutch points, near the top in clutch plus minus. They were 6-2 in clutch games in the playoffs, and Jalen Brunson was absolutely ridiculous in the clutch. So he gets my award. Number two was Kyrie Irving, who's also second in clutch points. He's had some big moments as well, and Boston has been really good. Dallas has been really good in the clutch. And number three, I went to Jamal Murray. He had 2 game winners in the playoffs, and in the clutch, he's played 5 games in the clutch, and in those 5 games, he's only missed one shot. He's 8 for 9 shooting in the clutch. 88% from the field, 100% from 3, 100% from the free throw line. 2 game winners. So he gets some love there for the clutch player, but ultimately it's Jalen Brunson. Next, we had Coach of the Year. My playoff Coach of the Year went to Jason Kidd of the Dallas Mavericks. Kidd and the Mavericks have been amazing. They're 12-5 so far in the playoffs, and he gets my nod, even though Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics have the best record, and Joe Mazzulla is my number two. But I went with Jason Kidd and the Mavericks because the way they've done it has been amazing. You know, first round playing against the LA Clipper team, you get dominated in game 1, dominated in game 4, but they find a way to win game 5 on the road and then win game 6, and the adjustments he made were amazing. Then you go on the road again against the number 1 seed OKC Thunder, a young team. You get dominated in game 1, you win game 2, game 3, you make the adjustments defensively, you make Josh Giddey unplayable. The defense they've been playing was amazing. You lose game 4, and then you go on the road in game 5, win again, and you win in game 6. And then you get to the conference finals against a Minnesota Timberwolves team that had been hot. They swept the Phoenix Suns. They defeated the reigning champs in 7 games, and everyone thought, oh shoot, this could be a tough challenge. And you came in and beat them in 5. You won 2 games in Minnesota. You're up 3-0. You dominate them and embarrass them in game 5 on the road again for the 3rd straight series to win. It's just the way they've done has been amazing, and Jason Kidd has been a big leader in that. Obviously, the adjustments he's been making, the chess game he's been playing with other coaches has just been spectacular. He's making the right decision, it feels like, every time. And so Jason Kidd gets my coach of the year for the playoffs. I mean, before mentioning, my number 2 is Joe Mazzulla. I mean, they're 12-2. They've been dominant. Say what you want about them, but they're here and they've only lost 2 games. Got to give you credit to Joe Mazzulla. And then my number 3 is Chris Finch for the Timberwolves to make it all the way here to the conference finals in the way they've done it, in sweeping Phoenix, in beating Denver in 7 games. Like, you can't really ask more of Chris Finch. So he gets 3rd place, but ultimately it goes to Jason Kidd for me. And then finally, my MVP. Now, of course, again, the finals have not started yet, and the finals could change a lot of things, obviously. But this is me personally right now before the finals start. My playoff MVP is going to Luka Doncic. He has been amazing so far in the playoffs, averaging 28, 9, and 8 with 1.5 steals on 43, 34, 80 shooting splits. The last, I want to say, 7 games for him have been absolutely ridiculous as well. If I want to go to his game log right here. There we go. He didn't have a great start, but look at his last 7 games. He's averaging 31, almost 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and almost 2 steals on 49, 45, 85 shooting splits. And in those 7 games, he's had 30. In 5 of those 7 games, he's had a triple-double in 4 of those 7 games, and they're 6-1. He has been amazing. The only game he's been bad in his last 7 games was the game 4 against Minnesota, where he shot 7 for 21 in that game. But even at the end of the day, he had 28, 15, and 10 at the end of it. So, yeah, he has been absolutely amazing. He's got his team into the finals, obviously, so that's a big component. Obviously, him win MVP, got to win games, and he's been winning games at big moments, clutch moments, closeout scenarios. He's been doing it where they did it in game 5 against the Clippers in a 2-2 series, put up 35, 7, and 10 on 53% shooting. They won that game. You know, against OKC, another game 5 on the road, came out with 31, 10, and 11 on 54% shooting to win that game. Game 6, close out at home against OKC, 29, 10, and 10. You know, game 1 against Minnesota, 33, 6, and 8. Game 2 against Minnesota, 32, 10, and 13, and the game winner. Big game 3 against Minnesota, 33, 7, and 5 with 5 steals. Closeout game against Minnesota, game 5, 36, 10, and 5 on 63% shooting. Just so many amazing moments. So many amazing moments in big time moments when the Mavericks have needed it. He has done it. And yeah, it's been Luka Doncic. So he wins my playoff MVP. Number 2 is Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. He has been on fire as well. He led the playoffs. Well, didn't lead the playoffs in scoring behind Joel Embiid, but he averaged 32 points, 7.5 assists with the Knicks. Led the clutch scoring. He was amazing. And then Anthony Edwards is my number 3. He has so many big moments in this playoffs. Led his team all the way to the conference finals. Became one of the best players in the playoffs. And yeah, he has some amazing moments as well. But ultimately, my playoff MVP goes to Luka Doncic. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Videos that allow. Again, let me know in the comments down below who you think your personal playoff award winners are going to be. Let me know. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.